Okay, look, I know you're dying to play the game, but you just gotta wait a little bit longer. It's just one more month. So until then, I'll just keep teasing you with footage of it. Here we go. So this past month, we spent a lot of time working on the environment, which includes the actual arena and then the area surrounding it, because beforehand it was just kind of floating in a void. So as you can see here, we have a new arena model with the new texture on it. Which, it's not this like brown, chalky kind of thing from before. It's kind of got these grass patches and stuff on it, which is cool. Those blue discs you see down there are geysers. You'll get to see them in action later. I actually worked on those. I worked on those and the static blocks that you see around those. The cylinders with the Minecraft texture. I worked on those. Yeah, don't worry. We'll get final art for it next month. But also, if you look in the background, you can see this kind of hilly stuff with some trees and rocks and stuff on it. And that will be closer to us next month. That the environment has the final scale on it. Believe it or not, all the objects that are in gameplay right now are 2 times too small. So we're going to have to scale everything up come next month when we get the final character models, because the character models and the animations are twice as big as these. So that'll be a fun little job. But anyway, so the geysers went off a little bit ago, and what we did was we tied the geysers to one of the targets. So each target is actually elemental now, and it matches kind of the whole theme of the game. So the middle one's the fire one, and the fire makes your attrition go up and down. The left one is the water one, which causes the geysers to shoot up. And if you're on top of a geyser while it's shooting, it'll knock you up into the air just like the fire mine would. The one on the right is the earth target, and it brings down all of those static blocks in the walls so that, you know, the whole platform's kind of flat. And actually underneath each of the static blocks is another geyser. So you can expose more geysers by knocking away the static blocks. One of the things I also worked on this past month was sounds, and we use a sound API called Fmod, which is a really awesome sound API because it lets me do cool things such as 3D sound effects. And what 3D sound effects are is all of the sounds in the game, or at least in the game world, are attached to the objects where the sounds are coming from. And so what I can do is I can say, hey, here's the sound effect over here by this object, and here's the camera. So here's the listener. And it will perform things such as volume attenuation based on how far away or how close it is, Doppler based on the speed at which it's coming towards me or away from me, and panning based on which side of the screen it's coming from me on. So you can check out all that cool stuff once you get the final version of the game. Unfortunately, my screen capture stuff doesn't do sound very well, so I can't really show it off. Too bad. So this is something that was actually in last month, but I didn't get a chance to show it. I worked on this. This is the free cam, and the way this works is that if you fall off the arena, or if you start the match but you don't choose a bender, then you can go into free cam, and this lets you just view the match as an observer and just check it out wherever you want. So I really like to watch it from this kind of perspective because you really get a sense of just the whole playing field kind of thing. When you're playing, sometimes it's kind of hard to see everything that's going on. It looks like it's a 2v1 match right now. So juggling is the best thing ever, and we found ways to emphasize that in our game, such as if you can knock them in the air high enough, you actually knock them out of the arena just like it would in Super Smash Bros. At this point, the vast majority of feature programming is done. The game, in terms of gameplay, won't be changing very much, if at all, this upcoming month. So what we're going to be working on instead is polish, which is where we clean the game up, fix any issues there might be having, both the glaring ones and the minor ones, and then, of course, put in the final art assets and make it all pretty. And once that's done, it's in your hands. So I did the math, and when everything's over, each member of my team will have put in around 700 hours of work each into the game. And wow, that that is a really big number. I don't think I've ever once put in 700 hours of work into anything before. And that number doesn't even include all the time that was spent before we even started Final Project, where I was thinking about what I wanted to do and making plans for the game. So I suppose my main point in elaborating on how much time was spent working on this game is to justify my excessive consumption of media like movies and TV shows and music. Because you see, I am thinking about the game all the livelong day, and in order to remain sane, I need to think about something else. And for that little while, for those moments where I'm watching a show, I don't have to think about the game. I can just sit back and relax, and it's so nice. What was I talking about? Oh yeah, this is the part of the show where I recommend things that keep me sane. Starting this off is Beyond the Clouds, The Promised Place. Also known as The Place Promised in our early days, this anime is a unique take on the story of Sleeping Beauty, and it holds a very special place in my heart. It's one of those films where I am unable to pin down exactly why I like it so much. I can of course list reasons like how the two main male characters are engineers and how their interactions and thinking resembles my own. Or like the ungodly tall tower ever present in the story could be taken as a symbol for so many different things. Or maybe because each frame is like perfect computer wallpaper. I mean, come on, look at this. Somebody drew that. I suppose one of the main things that endears this film to me is its melancholic-like narration that more resembles poetry than actual exposition. When I finished watching it, I felt like I had just woken up from a pleasant dream. It was very beautiful. Speaking of poetry, I love poetry. I only know a few by heart, but hey, I just started collecting. Recently, I've been listening to a poet named Shane Koizan. You may remember him from last year's anti-bullying campaign called To This Day. I could talk about his poems, but honestly I think it would be better to let his poems speak for themselves. So
your entire body shakes when you laugh, as if your sense of humor was built on a fault line, and the coast of your heart falls into the ocean of yourself, and I'm left looking for this Atlantis. Left looking for this place that exists in stories told by old men who were there when mathematics assured them. Their willingness to believe was greater than their determination to dismiss. I'm left looking for Atlantis, regardless of the scientists that insist my efforts would be better spent unearthing clues to where the wild things went. Try as it might, faith can't put a dent in fact, so we must settle for watching science reenact the world, as if the universe was curled around this globe, and if we consider that the universe is never ending, then we're not even a microbe. We're like a death threat from a pacifist, we're nothing. But the Heisenberg uncertainty principle states that nothing is faux shizzle. And the interesting thing about that is it ensures the principle itself can't even be a fact. But we still act as if this time we can see the force.
I think it's time to blow this scene. Get everybody in the stuff together. Okay, 3, 2, 1, let's jam.
Were you expecting me to talk about this? It's Cowboy Bebop. Why haven't you seen Cowboy Bebop? It's one of the main reasons that anime is as popular as it is today here in the West. You see, the thing about Cowboy Bebop is, it's cool. This show has a love for music, and they like to use it in interesting ways. For instance, each of the episodes are actually names of famous songs or albums, and they don't stick to one genre of music either. There is blues, jazz, rock, folk, country, African, and orchestral. I've never felt so good watching a space battle set to jazz. Alright, I get it. You want to know what the show is actually about. So here we go. Spike, Jet, Faye, and Ed, bounty hunters on board the spaceship Bebop, traveling across the solar system rounding up baddies who have bounties on their heads. So, you know how some shows have standalone episodes where you don't have to see other episodes to know what's going on? You could even watch them out of order and it wouldn't matter. Shows like, say, SpongeBob. Then there are other shows where each episode influences the ones after it, like, say, Breaking Bad. Well, Bebop has both, and while the standalone episodes are really good, the other episodes where order matters are magnificent. It's almost like I'm watching a different show. They are so good, in fact, that I was depressed that they didn't do more of them. But please, don't let that prevent you from watching this gem of a show. Lastly, my brother's band, Comp Toro, recently released their new album, My Lone Angel. This album is a real testament to Tyler's growth as a musician, and it is so good. You guys have got to check it out. Since you need something to compare it to be able to understand the growth, you should also check out Comp Toro's previous album, Crushed, which I played the drums on. We are very proud of both of these albums, and I'm sure that you guys will enjoy them. Thanks you guys for sticking with me. We're on the final stretch. If you like this stuff, please comment and subscribe, and I will see you all next month.